Welcome to this episode of The Build Up, presented by the Florida Home Builders Association, serving up fresh perspectives on politics, building, and beyond.
Welcome to the Build Up. I'm your host, Ryan Benson, owner of A. Vernon Allen Builder in Naples, Florida, and Sanibel Island, and my co-host, John Riddle, of Turning Leaf Custom Homes. So thank you. Our very special guest today, Congressman Byron Donalds. We just had the pleasure of having you join us for a presentation of our Champions of Housing Awards. Thank you for everything you've done for our state, serving our House, working through everything at Congress. I'm going to open up with a light one before we go political, which is, what's the coolest moment you've experienced in the past 6 months and however many days since the new administration took place? Because we've got to see you on camera in a lot of cool like backgrounds and beside and whatnot. So which one's like, wow, for you?
Two come to mind.
Okay.
And actually both of them happened in the Oval Office. So by the way, like I've been to the Oval Office, I don't know how many times now in the past 6 months. So the first cool one, the president had been doing some remodeling and he put on the ceiling of the Oval, the seal of the President of the United States, surrounded by 50 stars, all in gold. And before, the ceiling was just plaster white.
Oh, wow.
So now you have the plaster white ceiling with the seal of the president and the 50 stars on the ceiling of the Oval Office. So I walked in and the staff was like, we've just done a bunch of these renovations, check it out. And I look up and I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. And they said, well, now the president wants to put a chandelier up there. And I go, what? And they go, they wants to put a chandelier. So POTUS came in and I go, sir, this is great. They said you want to put a chandelier. He goes, yeah, it'll be great. I'm like, no, don't do that. Just leave the seal. So that was really cool. Number one. Number two.
Wait, he left the seal and didn't do a chandelier?
As it stands right now, the seal is still there.
Okay.
That was my input. I won't take credit.
All right.
I think the president does a good job when he's trying to do a construction project. He does a good job. He knows what works. The second one, I was in the Oval Office a couple weeks ago, and we were just having random conversations before we got to business. And this is when the stuff about real sugar in Coca-Cola came up.
Yeah.
So cane sugar and Coca-Cola in America came up. So I was there when this whole conversation happened. And so it happened real fast. We just got into it somehow. I think they were talking about Diet Coke, and then somebody talked about the sugar content in real Coke, and they wish that it was like cane sugar, like how it is in other countries, not here. And that became a whole thing. And so the president just told the media team, like, put this out. And it went out, boom. And so now Coca-Cola is going to be offering, apparently in the fall, Coca-Cola with cane sugar.
That's awesome.
Crazy stuff.
Wow. Cool.
President
Cool stuff.
makes things happen.
He doesn't wait.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. He doesn't wait.
You should know that Ryan's office does have the chandelier on his oval ceiling.
He's fancy, though.
Yeah, I guess he's fancy.
My client.
He's the fanciest builder in all of America.
He is. Well, again, thank you for joining us at the luncheon. You had some wonderful remarks, especially about housing and how we advance our industry here in the state of Florida. Would you mind just telling our audience a little bit about what you talked about on helping our industry?
Well, I think the first thing is permitting in our state. It addresses home building, but it really addresses all construction. We have to get out of the situation where it's taking 6 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months to put a shovel in the ground. All that does is drive up the costs on end users. And so, like, anybody that's looked at the balance sheet and the income statement of any home builder, I have, when I started my career in commercial banking, I underwrote a bunch of builders. So I know what the business model looks like. At the end of the day, it's a margins business. So if it takes longer to get through the permitting process, well, then guess what? That just gets tacked on to the cost. And where we are today in the country, where we're still feeling the after effects of the crazy inflation spiral from the previous administration, we need to be examining everything we can do. And so I think that there is technology. We can really embrace technology when it comes to permitting work to speed that process up. The quicker we can get construction started from conception of the idea, the better in terms of cost for the end consumer. And it will help your industry as well, because now you're not just having projects sit on your books for about a year and a half, while you have somebody in your office going back and forth with the county. We can get that done pretty quickly and really deliver for people.
Well, you might be interested to know today our membership voted to advance that exact topic as a tier 1 priority for next year's session at the Florida legislative session.
And look, and to be blunt, I have no pride of authorship. Nothing will please me more than for Governor DeSantis and the legislature to tackle that and get that ball rolling. It's really about doing what's best for the people of Florida. So it's something that I definitely want to champion and see happen in the state. If it's taken care of early, great. That's to the betterment of our state, the betterment of our people.
So, and I'll let John stick to the policy. I'm going to keep on the personal and the lighter side of it.
Okay.
So how is it, I mean, you're a dad, you've got 3 boys. How do you balance between, time in Naples with the family, time in DC? I mean, I'm a dad, and I know the main answer is an awesome wife, and your wife, Erica's amazing. My wife, Jess, amazing. But how do you balance between those things and be a dad and still do everything you need to do for our area?
Well, I mean, first things first, Erica's awesome. She's done a great job holding down the fort, taking care of the family and doing that stuff. She prioritizes that when I get home, we do quality time stuff. And as my sons have gotten older, even I prioritize it more because now they're getting older. And I'm like, oh man, this one just left. This one's about to leave. So that's number 2. Number 3, anything you do in life, you're going to sacrifice. And I think when I started going down this journey politically, the one thing I wanted to demonstrate to my sons was that if you're going to do really important things, you're not going to be able to come home at 5:30 every night. There's days you're going to be gone. There's sometimes weeks you're going to be gone. But that's the cost of success, is sacrifice. And a lot of times, I think if you talk to anybody who's really done it, who's killed it in any industry, sometimes time at home suffers. And so as my sons have gotten older, I try to bring them periodically with me on the road or to DC so they can kind of see what dad's doing, and so that it becomes real for them. And that also in their lives, they understand that you could still have those moments of quality time while sometimes having to put in the real work in your craft or your career. The last cool thing that we did, I called a buddy of mine. We went over to the gun range. And went over to the gun range, and it was like a Sunday, and we got done with church, and I said, let's go to the range. Let's go shoot. Took my boys in there. We took the guns out the safe. We spent a couple hours at the range and watching my son shoot, and they did the safety class first because, we got to respect the weapon.
Yep.
And then we did that, and we had a great time. And so at dinner last night, before I left to get on the road, my 17-year-old, he's actually going to college in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to drop him off. He picked up the card from the range, and he goes, "Hey, Dad." He starts pointing at the card. I'm like, "We'll do it, I promise." So you just fit the quality time in and do meaningful things. But
they have a good eye. They have a good shot.
Yeah, they're good shots. I will give them that. They're good shots. But I think no matter what your business is I think one is putting in the quality time, and 2, setting a good example for them, and it works out.
And we know your time's limited here, so I do want for our listeners let's talk a little bit about the governor's race. And speaking of prioritizing and then categorizing your time, why don't you give us a quick synopsis of where you're at right now and where you expect to be, and when do things really start ramping up for you?
Well, I mean, look, the way I do campaigns is the second I decide I'm running, it's ramped up 100 miles an hour. So that's kind of what I do. We've been crisscrossing the state. I've been in 28 of the 67 counties already. And we're going to get to every county in our state, and not just once to say we did it. Like, we're going to make several trips. Fundraising has gone very well for the campaign. Actually, I'm a little shocked at how much we've done, to be honest. But I think that's because there's a lot of people who believe in the mission I have for the state of Florida, and they want to be early investors in that. Right now, as it stands, I'm unopposed in a Republican primary. That could change, but that's just the way life is. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, we're going to work incredibly hard. When I first ran for office, I didn't even know how to raise money. So like that, this is like a new phenomenon even for me. Didn't know how to raise money. Didn't know what that was about. And so all we knew how to do was work hard.
Yep.
Knock more doors than anybody, do more events than anybody, be as many places as you can, really understand all the issue sets. And so that's what we did. And that is something that's always going to change. And I'll tell you, from the president's campaign last year, we were about to hit recess in Washington, and I was looking at my calendar over the next couple of months. And I told my team, I said, clear the calendar. And they go, what? I said, I know we made some commitments, but clear the calendar. Turn our calendar over to the president's team. Whatever they want from us, we will do. And that's just my attitude. That's how I am. So in this race, whether it's Dave Jolly, the Democrat, whoever decides to run as an independent, if another Republican decides to get in the race and run, I just want them to know we're going to work incredibly hard. And we are setting a tempo and a pace that not many people can keep up with.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Congressman. We really appreciate you taking the time with us today, speaking at our lunch. We know you got a lot of places to be, but the home builders are here for you. So thank you so much. We appreciate having you.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are a fun group. I love coming to talk to you guys.
Congressman. We love having you here.
Yeah.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Build-Up, brought to you by the Florida Home Builders Association. Keep the conversation going, and we'll catch you next time.